Hello and welcome to our assembly today. Thank you for joining me again. I'm going to tell you one of the stories in the Bible, but it's a story I think some of you might already know. So the story is of Jonah and the whale, or Jonah and the big fish. Hands up if you already know that story. Now, my thought for today is going to be right at the end of that story and what happens next. So maybe as I tell this story to anybody who hasn't heard it before or who can't remember it, you can try and remember what happens at the very end of this story, because that's what we're going to be thinking about, okay? So if anybody who can't remember it, the story of Jonah is a story of a really nice man. Do you know what? He was friends with all of his neighbours. He liked to help people. He liked to grow nice food and share it. He never stole or told lies. He was very good friends with God, and he talked to God by praying every day. Well, one day he was talking to God, and God said to him, "Jonah, I've got a special job for you." Well, Jonah was pleased. He liked doing things for God. And then he heard what the job was. God said to him, "Jonah, the special job I've got for you is I want you to go to the town of Nineveh." Now in Nineveh, all of the people are being really bad. They're hurting each other, they're telling lies, they won't share, they're being really horrible. And I want you to say to the people of Nineveh, you need to stop being so bad, you need to stop treating each other badly, and you need to learn to be nice to each other. If you don't, there will be trouble. That's your job, Jonah. Well, Jonah heard this job and he was really scared. He said, "I don't want to go to Nineveh. They're horrible there. They might hurt me. I'm not going to Nineveh." And Jonah refused to go. He thought, what shall I do? And he decided to run away. So instead of going to Nineveh, Jonah ran as fast as he could down to the beach where there were lots of big boats. And he went up to a boat and he said, "Where are you going?" And they said, "We're going to Tarshish." And he said, "Oh, brilliant. That's the opposite direction to Nineveh. I'm coming with you." And he paid the sailors some money and he got onto their boat. And the boat set away as far away as possible from Nineveh. Well, when the boat was out in the middle of the sea, a huge storm came up. And the boat started rocking and the waves were washing over the boat. And the sailors began to get scared. They threw off all of their food and anything they didn't absolutely have to keep to make the boat lighter. But still the boat was rocking. And they thought, oh no, we're going to be overturned. We're all going to drown. So they woke up Jonah and they said, "Jonah, do you know what's happening? Why is the storm so bad?" And Jonah said, "I think it might be my fault. I'm running away from God and maybe this is his way of telling me to go home. I tell you what you should do. You need to throw me off the boat." Well, the sailors didn't want to do that. They said, "Don't be silly, it's a storm. If we throw you off the boat, you'll drown." And Jonah said, "Well, I can't keep running away from God. I think you have to throw me off the boat." And eventually the sailors agreed. So they picked Jonah up and they threw him off the boat into the water. Do you know what? As soon as they did, the storm stopped and the sea was calm again. But Jonah was sinking down through the water. God could still see Jonah in the water, and he sent a big fish to rescue him. So the big fish opened its mouth really wide and swallowed Jonah up. And Jonah lived in the fish's tummy for 3 days. And after 3 days, the fish swam back to the beach and out came Jonah from his tummy. And Jonah was safe. God had rescued him from drowning. So Jonah said to God, "Thank you for looking after me in the tummy of the fish and for saving me from drowning." And God said, "I'll always look after you, Jonah. Now, go and do what I asked you to. Go to Nineveh and give them their warning that they need to stop being bad or they're going to be in trouble. So Jonah decided to trust God, and he went to the city of Nineveh. I wonder how many of you have remembered what happens next. Put your hand up if you have. We'll see. So Jonah walked into the city of Nineveh, and he was still a little bit scared, but he trusted God to look after him. And he said to the people there, "It's time to stop hurting each other, to stop lying, to stop stealing from each other. It's time to say sorry and to be good. Otherwise, God says there's going to be some trouble." The people listened to Jonah and they said, "You're right. We have been really bad and we don't want to be bad anymore." They said sorry to God and they decided to listen to him. Now, the people were really happy because they didn't get into trouble because they'd said sorry and God was going to be their friend again. Jonah, however, left the city of Nineveh in a sulk. Can you imagine? He was so grumpy. He said, "Hang on a minute, this isn't fair. They've been naughty for ages and ages and ages, and now they're not going to be in trouble. God, that's not fair." And God said to Jonah, "Jonah, I want to be friends with everybody, whether they've been good or bad. Of course it's fair. I'm still your friend and you ran away from me." And Jonah realised that it was good to have God as a friend. Now I wonder, do you think the way that Jonah felt was a good way to feel? Saying it's not fair, they're not being punished? I grew up with 3 brothers, and I sometimes thought it was quite good if they were in trouble and I wasn't in trouble. Or sometimes something nice would happen for them and I'd be a bit jealous and I wish it was happening for me and not them. Like if they came back from a party with a big party bag full of cake and sweets, I'd think, "Oh, I wanted that." And then I'd like it when it was my turn and I'd have things and they didn't. And that wasn't really a nice way to feel either, was it? There's a special word in the Bible called compassion. You might have heard it before, compassion. And compassion is a way of feeling where you're happy for other people when they're happy and you're sad for them when they're sad. So if your friend fell over in the playground, you wouldn't laugh at them and think it was a good thing. You'd feel bad for them and you'd want to make sure they're not hurt. That's having compassion for somebody. If Jonah had felt compassion for the people of Nineveh, when they weren't in trouble, he'd have been really happy for them. He'd have really enjoyed it and been like, "Oh, good, they're not in trouble." And he could have been friends with them all. Because he didn't have compassion, he was really sad and grumpy. And it was only him that was sad and grumpy. God says it's good to have compassion for each other. So when we hear stories or get in touch with each other on the phone or see each other on Zoom this week, maybe if something really good has happened to somebody, you can try and feel really happy for them and really pleased that something good has happened. And if something sad has happened, it's good to remember how that person's feeling and to try and help them when something sad has happened and to show them that you're still their friend. So that's our challenge for this week. Can you try and remember to have compassion for the people around you and to care about them and to try and be happy for the good things that happen to them and to be sad when the sad things happen to them and to try and help them to feel better. Now we've been doing the same song for a long time and I'm not very good at singing, so I thought I'm going to try and teach you a new song. I know in school you can't sing out loud, so I'm going to use a song that I know sign language for. And it's called Tidal Wave, which is quite an easy sign language because you just make it look like a wave going past. And my friend filmed this with me before lockdown, so I can show it to you now. And all of the actions are in sign language, so it's a good way to learn a little bit of sign language at the same time. And the message of the song is, let's look at the beautiful world around us and be happy that God has given it to us. So we'll play that to you now. See you next week. Bye.
You painted colours in the sky, made the clouds a tower high. We worship you. You scatter stars with holy hands, dusted rock with golden sands. We worship you. It's a beautiful world out there, simply awesome beyond compare. It's a beautiful world out there, and it's made by you. We bow down, humbled by the world you made, King of love and King of grace. Our voices in wonder and louder than thunder roar. You completely take our breath away. Our simple prayer is this each day. We long for your love, Lord, to hit like a tidal wave, tidal wave, tidal wave, like a tidal wave. You made the mighty oceans roar, stretch them out from shore to shore. We worship you. You breathe and life cascaded through, dance the song of joy to you. We worship you. It's a beautiful world out there, simply awesome beyond compare. It's a beautiful world out there, and it's made by you. We bow down, humbled by the world you made, King of love, King of grace. Our voices in wonder and louder than thunder roar. You completely take our breath away. Our simple prayer is this each day. We long for your love, Lord, to hit like a tidal wave, tidal wave, tidal wave, like a tidal wave. All you've made and all you've done in this place, let praise be sung. For all you've made and all you've done in this place, let praise be sung. For all you've made and all you've done in this place, let praise be sung. For all you've made and all you've done in this place, let praise be sung. We bow down, humbled by the world you made, King of love and King of grace. Our voices in wonder and louder than